Welcome everyone for another evening, day 5 of its Vagina Monologues season at She Stands Tall project. Just want to take a pause at that. And I hope you have been enjoying the recordings. You've been able to watch it, share it, discuss about it, reflect on it. And thank you so much for your support and your encouragement. Yeah. And we got a few minutes delay today when we started. So I'm just getting some pings from sisters. Have we started? And here we are, we have started. And today morning, yeah, when I woke up, I started bleeding. Yeah, I started with my menstruation. And I wanted to give it a place here because we are not doing a piece specifically on menstruation. And menstruation is also a language of the vagina. It's the flood of the vagina. And as women, you know, there is this very, when my bleeding happens, it pulls me from the doing pattern and it puts a break on my doing in the world. It really brings me into this awareness of my body. And I feel when I am in my blood, I am the most protected. Like yesterday, you know, all the previous days, I was really having to do a lot of self-care to take care of myself. But just this today's, as I started bleeding, I realized I didn't need any of that. And that's something that I am also really becoming present. There is a built-in protection in the blood that flows through the vagina. And it is part of the rhythm of being a woman. And I want to just name it the sacredness of this blood. And also something that we still haven't mentioned, and it doesn't get mentioned, is something that I want to voice it, because in my work, I have seen that many women, in spite of giving birth, do not know that the vaginal hole and the pee hole are two different things. So the blood and the baby does not come from the pee hole. There is a separate hole, and through which floods, yeah, which also carries the baby with the flood and brings the baby into this world. It is our earliest point of contact. And that's this journey. We are doing this journey so that we can really reclaim, remember, and repair, yeah, reconnect with our vagina and with vagina. Yeah, so as part of who we are, it is part of women's body, and it's me. That's where we paused yesterday, that my vagina, me. It's mine, it's my right. How I enter, who I choose to let enter. Yeah, and so today we are moving further. Today is a very short, simple day at the Vagina Monologue seasons. We are going to be sharing some facts about the vagina, and also some very interesting questions. If they are put forth to vaginas, how would the vagina respond? So we are going to go there. So this is the preface by E. Wensler about the where and say list of vaginas. I asked all the women I interviewed the same question. And then I picked my favorite answers. although I must tell you, I have never heard an answer I didn't love. So you're going to hear a lot of questions posed to the vagina and the various answers that women gave. So I'm going to invite my sisters to join me in Here is a Vagina, Wear and Say list.
All of the women were asked the following questions.
If your vagina got pressed, what would it wear?
Glasses and a beret, a leather jacket, silk stockings, mink, and a pink boa.
A male tuxedo, jeans, something form and fitting.
Emeralds, an evening gown, sequins.
Armani only. Armani only.
A tutu, a see-through black underwear, a taffeta ball gown,
And something machine washable.
Costumed eye mask, purple velvet pajamas, an angora, a red bow.
ermine and pearls, a leopard hat, a silk kimono, sweatpants, a tattoo,
And an electric shock device to keep unwanted strangers away.
High heels, lace, combat boots, purple feathers, twigs and shells, cotton.
a pinafore,
And a bikini.
a slicker,
And if your vagina could talk, what would it say? 2 words.
Slow down.
that you,
Feed me. I want. Yum, yum. Oh, yeah.
start again, no? Over there, lick me, stay home, brave choice.
Think again, more. Please embrace me and let's play.
Don't stop. More, more. Remember me?
Come inside. Not yet. Whoa, mama. Yes, yes. Rock me.
Enter at your own risk.
Oh God. Thank God. I'm here. Let's go. Let's go. Find me. Find me.
Thank you. Bonjour. Too hard. Don't give up.
Where's Brian? That's better. Yes, there. Right there. And now, I would like to start with reading a vagina fact from 1593. At a witch trial, in 1593, the investigating lawyer, a married man, apparently discovered a clitoris for the first time. He identified it as a devil's teat. I had to actually look it up. Teat as in nipples. He identified it as a devil's nipple, sure proof of the witch's guilt. It was, he said, quotes, a little lump of flesh in manner sticking out as if it had been a teat, a nipple, to the length of half an inch, which the gaoler, as in the jailer, perceiving at the first sight thereof, meant not to disclose, because it was adjoining it's to so dark and secret a place which was not decent to be seen. Yet in the end, not willing to conceal so strange a matter, so he showed it to various bystanders. The bystanders had never seen anything like it, and the witch was convicted. This is from the Woman's Encyclopedia of Myths and Stories.
Here is a vagina happy fact. This is from Woman and Intimate Geography by Natalie Ange. The clitoris is pure in purpose. It is the only organ in the body designed purely for pleasure. The clitoris is simply a bundle of nerves, 8,000 nerve fibers to be precise. That's a higher concentration of nerve fibers that is found anywhere else in the male or female body, including the fingertips, the lips, the tongue, and it is twice the number in the penis. Who needs a handgun when you've got a semi-automatic?
So here is a vagina not so happy fact. This is a not so happy fact from the New York Times in 1996 with updates from the 2013 UNICEF report. Female genital mutilation / cutting. A statistical overview and exploration of the dynamics of change. Genital mutilation has been inflicted on 200 million girls and young women. In countries where it is practiced, mostly African, about 30 million girls within the next decade can expect the knife or the razor or a glass shard to cut their clitoris or remove it altogether. And to have part or all of the labia sewing together with catgut or thorns. Often the operation is prettified as circumcision. The African health specialist Nahid Taubia puts it plain. In a man, it would range from amputation of most of the penis to removal of all the penis, its roots of soft tissue and part of the scrotal skin. Short-term results include tetanus, septicemia, hemorrhages, cuts in the urethra, bladder, vaginal walls, and the anal sphincter. Long-term chronic uterine infection, massive scars that can hinder walking for life, fistula formation, hugely increased agony and danger during childbirth, and early deaths.
Just want to give it the pause. From 1596 through now, and continuing in many parts of the world. The fear of the clitoris. And now we are going to go into a discussion, a sharing, and two more of our sisters are going to join us today. Let me begin by first welcoming sisters who read the piece, Malini. Welcome, Malini. Malini is a yogini in a permanent fluid state and feels her learning never ends. And I welcome Pratibha. Welcome, Pratibha. Pratibha is the soft, wild, witchy, laughing spirit reclaiming her pussy power. Welcome. So I have two sisters waiting. So I'm going to first maybe just do a check-in with you both. That was, I think when we practiced, it was different. And as we said it, it was kind of quite, Malini, I also saw you kind of, how was it for both of you to
I think Malini's
screen kind of has frozen. She'll come back. Pratibha, do you have anything you want to share?
Even though we began with the light tune, and now the only thing that has stayed with me is the lost piece. And I don't know what to say. So much fear of the clitoris, and why is it so threatening? What is so threatening about it? That young women's girls have to agree. They are not agreeing, it is being imposed, and them to give up what had been gifted to them. So, and then it is prettified. It is prettified. And for us, I was just thinking in the morning, for me to say that, yeah, we must give space to know our vaginas, and it's not an easy process for those who go through trauma to even say the word vagina. And it's so easy to say that we don't take time, we have to, we must, we should. For me, it's nothing like we should or must or have to. It's we do our best. Start from somewhere. Just start by acknowledging ourselves that, yeah, I'm here, I'm in this female body. And then start from wherever we are comfortable with. And I'm saying this since I've been through lots of sexual trauma, and even to say the word vagina was difficult. It was difficult. So I can't imagine how those young girls and women are going to process that and even say or acknowledge the vagina and the clitoris. Even if it has been taken away, it's still there. Energetically, it's still there. And it's important to acknowledge the presence energetically. I just want to acknowledge those girls and women, and I don't feel qualified to even say something or have an opinion about this right now. Just want to acknowledge them.
Just stay with the feeling of what you feel. I think that's sometimes we miss that. Just feel that.
When this piece was written, where it's in one place it says mostly genital mutilation has been inflicted on 200 million girls and mostly African, and in the next decade about 30 million girls will go through it again. So I was like, I mean, it's beyond me to understand how we know all this and we sleep at night knowing this. A part of the world goes to sleep, goes to business as usual, and we allow it to happen. I mean, it's inhuman. It's just inhuman for anybody to inflict this kind of horror on another human being. I cannot. It's. I cannot express my anguish and my whole. I mean, it's literally shaking when I hear her. I mean, read this because it's like cat guns. They are ready to be sewn by somebody, and why? As Pratibha asked, why would I inflict such horror on another person? And this pleasure is most sought after by men, and uh, still women are inflicted to this kind of pain. Is I I really, my heart reaches out to them, and You're right, Pratibha. We have. I mean, there is no scope of any opinion on this. We can just be witness and try to. I don't know how we will try to stop it, or in our own little way try to convey to the world that this is happening and let us also. I don't know.
One positive part about that is in Congo, like many parts, even in Africa now, in I don't know, was it Kenya that it came out and they completely banned it as a they took that movement. So a lot, I'm sure, from this piece today has shifted, but it is there. It's there very much in our own country. Yeah, it's very much there in India, genital mutilation, especially in some of the communities in Gujarat, it's there. So it is there everywhere. What gets attention is what comes out, and something that um, clitoris doesn't give any pleasure to men. The only reason clitoris gets removed is clitoris gives pleasure to women.
To her. Hmm.
Yeah, so the removal of clitoris is so that she doesn't experience pleasure. Yeah, so for a man's a penis going inside and having whatever has nothing to do with the clitoris. So the clitoris is really that it is that is something that to know that as well. That's the whole point. And as both of you said,
So is it a form of controlling the woman? It's
I mean, women having, we spoke about that. I think let me also welcome the other two. I'm sure we'll have a more juicier conversation. We'll bring two more. We have Sunita and Megha who have been here before. So let me bring Sunita in. And Sunita likes to be introduced as, I believe that I wanted to be a poet, but deep down I just wanted to be a poem. And that's a quote that she sent me. So, and we have Megha here. Megha Naigi is giggling womb, laughing vagina, swaying hair, budding breasts, daughter, sister, auntie, granddaughter. Sunita, you might have to turn the video. Yes, there's Sunita. Yeah, welcome everyone. Were you guys able to watch the piece as well? Yeah.
I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the courage of your voices that came up with the facts and with the stories today. And how it automatically seems to move into giving voice to something that seemed to have gone silent.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank and acknowledge all the sisters here today who showed up, and irrespective of it being difficult to be voiced, gave voice to it.
And I want to also add Eve Ensler for creating this. I can't even imagine what it took to write this, to interview women, to sit in their stories with them. And I know that they have created a Congo safe house. They've created many safe houses in Africa, the We Day, and they are really working in the, for safety and to end violence against women and girls. So I also want to name that.
This might bring an ounce of consolation, but it's just like a dust I'm a Mandela Washington Fellow, and I've met a lot of African fellows. And right now, there is such a movement, like for the last decades at least, there's been such a movement, legislation, and so much activism happening there. Like, it's coming down. It has come down massively. Like, just saying it gave me goosebumps because these people, they don't have access to resources that we have right now. They don't even have this with the amount of work they are doing
Yeah,
just to ensure that women are held safe.
yeah,
Like just in Ghana, I blew me away. Like Muslim woman, like she's a hijabi, and I was like, she's a hijabi, but she's not just a hijabi. She's probably one of the biggest activists I've seen. And she's from Vital Voice. So I don't know if you know her, Reka, Hikmat Babadua. So
yeah,
they're all women like that. They're all women working, and it's not just about the clit. One of the biggest mutilation is also breast ironing.
yeah,
Breast is thing to men again.
yeah,
It's my antenna, right?
yeah,
From here. I can touch from here. So yeah, there is, and I feel I believe it's an unstoppable movement because it's even in Egypt. Even in Egypt, they passed legislation. It's happening. Even in places like Morocco,
yeah.
it's happening. So it is happening.
That's yeah, yeah, yeah. And what is even more, when I first learned about genital mutilation and cutting, is that those who implement it as women, it's mothers and grandmothers, and it's the mothers doing it to their daughters, or the elders doing it to their, so and we know that trauma begets trauma, and how across generation we forget, and it becomes so tied to being safe, and yeah, it's and I feel that is, yeah, we cannot even comprehend. I feel like, yeah, it's in a way it is also a movement to be safe in some ways, that women did it to also, so that they maybe are out of the limelight and they stay safe. In some ways it may be, I don't know, and just that I can't imagine, how, and what a mother tells her daughter, that you need this, otherwise you will not survive. And it's just, and for someone to stand out of it, it's like in Constellation, it's the price we pay for belonging in a system. So also, say that as well. This is also, yeah,
There's this documentary. I'm gonna find it and give it to you, so you might actually share it. And she's then told it's connected to this female genital mutilation. And this young girl made a bargain with the dad when it came for her mutilation. She was like, "I want to study. I don't want to do that." And then the bargain was, "I'm gonna build a school here," and she made it. In at less than 18, she did things and brought a school in the village for the other girls. So stories like that also need to be told.
yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm gonna try to
Yes,
find it.
send it, I will post it, and this is something again I want to bring, okay? This was quite a while back. A very close sister, won't disclose her name, just because we are here online, and she shared with me something, and I'm taking a leap of faith here. I don't know whose faith in the universe, I guess. And bringing this word, we have this word in Hindi, especially, and many of you might. It is, I think, it's there in almost all the languages. Nak, nak
Yeah.
katana, yeah, to cut the, that naak kata degi, matlab, but in Gujarat, in the communities where this existed, genital mutilation existed actually in many communities there, the old communities, and they call that naak katana for genital mutilation. Just, so you really start, when I first heard that, Na katwano che. So it is in Gujarati, so it is the word or terminology used for genital mutilation. So if you don't do that, then it's like, so then for me at that moment, what I'm opening up is also the most used word in our mythology is with Shurpanakha.
Yeah.
And her nose, what was exactly cut that time? Was it really the nose that was cut? Is the question I asked myself when I first heard this term. Because you take away clitoris and then you take away a woman's ability to be aroused, or to enjoy or have pleasure. So this is something just I wanted to voice it because I don't know who all will hear it, and to also start looking at stories and myths and to start questioning what is some of those words, what do they really mean, and what is its origin, what could have been, and I just wanted to say that for today's piece. And what else? I had questions, but I think the last piece kind of it took me.
I'm struck by what you said, Rekha, about the symbolism, right, that exists in the myth, and how one can say that it actually emulates the same principle that happens, even though the story has a hero and, the so-called demonic witch, right? And yes, the witch. And the witch trial that you mentioned also had the witch. And my question is, when would it be enough for the masculine to feel safe in violence? Because the attack is not just on pleasure, but on the most vulnerable spot. It's like a flower bud, and when it's cut off at that level, you need to understand that psychologically, the imbalance that it creates, it does not give back anything that lives, right? Because something is deadening there. And what passes on is pain and violence. And there is no end to it until and unless one is able to bear, the giving of pleasure, because the giving of pleasure has sometimes become unbearable. And because pleasure and pain are the polarities that has to exist for the balance to be maintained, and to feel threatened by something which germinates the energy of the innate feminine, and the woundedness that, and to feel that you can wound the feminine and allow, life to smoothly flow through is, I think it's time to really look deeper into these myths, which also blueprints, it's sometimes just goes unnoticed, invisible. And when religion comes attached to it, then it cannot be touched again, right? It's all goes under the ground here.
I would say that if you have watched that movie PK, just borrow that sentence from there. Dar ka vyapar.
Yeah.
There's a whole system that is feeding on this trauma and fear. And someone said in our group that happy women are threats. So happy women are threats to whom exactly? And if there's no trauma, no fear, how will the system, how will the businesses survive? And I also like to say this: if I'm not owning what is mine, if I'm not owning this vagina, this clit, not only this, if I'm not owning this body, then who's owning it? And I strongly believe that it is well thought strategy, maybe. I don't know how to call it. I don't have the right words. It has started somewhere, like Sunita is saying. She just mentioned about being in control of this body, and it benefits whom, and it started somewhere.
Yeah. And I also want to, instead of just calling it feminine, masculine, which becomes such ethereal, no bodiless things, I want to really also say men and male. And I think men and males have to really, there is a huge pain there as well. Yeah, there is a huge pain and there's a huge disconnect, and the disconnect has come through trauma, and I really want to give trauma the space here, because it's trauma, and trauma is disconnect from the body. It is constriction. It is this, you create this world, a glorious world someday, and you live from here. So, all the creations of, I think in the world today, we look at it, this intellectual engagement, even religion and the text and this, and I've been really getting very curious about all this and my own meaning making, and how I kind of enjoyed the meaning making, and so I think there is, and for men to, how can we create a space or safe space that men feel safe to show their pain? Men feel safe to be seen in their emotions, or they feel safe. Yeah, especially I'm from India, and we are all have of origin of India also, right? So I also want to call in our country that because any workshop I attend, anything I go, there might be just that one man, and he's so afraid to be there. I have to say that, yeah. Yeah, it's I think for me, that has been a huge journey for me to also see men how difficult it is also to be a man in this world today. It's very difficult to be a man in this world. And as a woman, I can, because I have the room that has been given to me to be emotional, you know, I still have, I feel, but for a man, it is the defense. I'm beginning to see all the defense that men use now to not meet their pain. So while I think our pleasure can only have some room to exist, when men also start learning how to hold their own pain and we are not the body to dump it into. Yeah, we are, because this action, no, of when you hit something, there's a release. And I so many times feel the act of penetration is that, you know, and many times men are using that to release their anger and frustration into the woman's body, you know, and she takes it, you know, and it's okay, she can transform it, is how I believe it. But then men, it cannot happen, it can't be, it's not that, it can't be, that's not the purpose. Yeah, that, yeah, so that, I think I don't know, I am how, you know, how do we create that safe space that men really, that's something that I have really been reflecting on, you know, even as a therapist, and I just see how afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So this is, yeah, I'm opening.
And what you said just, you know, goes spot on to this split, right? Where pleasure can't exist for women and pain can't
exist
for man. It's the same traumatic vicious cycle. It doesn't go anywhere.
Yes, exactly.
And in Indian psychology, they say that the penetration with violence and aggression is the deepest unconscious longing for connection to
Right.
the feminine that is vulnerable and, you know, which holds that mother.
Yeah.
The wet, life-giving,
Moist, yeah,
moist, feminine, and yeah, and it doesn't go anywhere other than us claiming it back,
yeah,
to do our work. And it's not, I do not think it's just women's work.
no, not at all.
No, it's absolutely not, because I think all of us now feel comfortable being in our heads more because it's a safe place there, you know. And only when we move in,
Yeah.
that all chaos, discomfort, this trauma, the longings come to you, and you have to then deal with it. So, yeah.
Interesting, because my sense is, and I've been wondering these past few days, like the click for me is kind of the spring energy, the ever, the curiosity, the waking up. And I've been wondering, like, what happened to us, not just women, but men, because we're known to this waking up into life, and then we want to kill this life, and still we want her to give life.
Right.
And then I'm gonna shove into her. So I read the question earlier, was like, if my vagina could speak, what would she say? And for me, it was like, don't shove into me.
Right.
And then Sunita was saying about like this deep, violent penetration. And I feel like men don't literally, they don't even penetrate, they shove in, like they thrust in. And that's not the way to go. And I can speak from my own experience. I didn't know that shoving in is not normal. I didn't even know like trusting inside isn't normal. I was expecting him to know, but he doesn't know anything anyway. and he can't even know it. He better not know it. He better not be the encyclopedia to my vagina. But it takes us back to nature again, right?
Yeah.
And who to blame? Is it just fear? Is it just control? Is it today wanting to know where it started? Because I've been also thinking today was like, all of us can experience differently. For some of us, maybe we have more flexibility in our autonomic nervous system today. Like I feel right now I have more opening, like I can begin to like inquire, what do I do now?
Right.
Where do I take this now? The pain is here, but how can I move into joy? Can I move into pleasure or life? So I feel also this is important now in women's spaces, beyond the pain, beyond the trauma, like let's move. Are you able to move? Move. If you can't, that's fine. Don't move, stay here. Even you die like this, that's fine. No pressure.
And I also want to just take what both of you said and take it to the next step, that this is relational work. Whether it's a man or a woman, the trauma itself is relational. And I think it's also this dance of learning how to take and how to give. Because many times our children, we don't mirror that to our children. How to take with permission, how to, how to ask, even to give. This permission as children, as parents, we don't mirror that. I never was mirrored any permission by my parents, and their parents even forget it. What I got also, they must not have got. Yeah. So I think this culture, I think we have to start that. We have to mirror that for children to know, that what is mine and what is, that though we are all connected, there is also a separation. And this inhibition of not causing the other pain, we know it's part of the neocortex, it's part of the top brain. The inhibition act is not part of the emotional brain. The emotional brain doesn't know inhibition. The inhibition comes when the limbic system and the brain stem, there the trauma is, we learn that. Otherwise, it's a next step, it's the higher function. That's why animals may not know that I can stop if they've it's so. But that, and many when I see, just based on my own life, of especially men and male, I have all my life been very amused, many times shocked, that the inhibition to know that this can now cause this person pain many times is not there. I mean, if my own partner, who claimed to love me a lot, but especially when it comes to sexuality and penetration, he really didn't know that I was separate, and it pains me, or there's some that inhibition. I'm very curious about that, because I don't know. For me, that comes very fast to see the other and to know that, whoa, this is uncomfortable for the other, comes to me very fast, and to pause. But many times I don't see that is there. I'll give you an example. I don't know if I'm making a point. I saw this as part of a program that it's a series I was watching. It was around Black Lives Matter. But this is a question. I don't even know the answer. I'm putting it out there if men ever watch it, and men in your life, you can ask this, but I want to put it out. It's like when I see on news or on TV, when I see a woman doing good or doing bad, being or she has harmed somebody, or it hits me like I did it. I feel like, oh my God, there's something in me sinks. But I wonder, when men watch men doing all this, do they feel that connection with other men? Or many times I hear it is, he did it. That there is the separation. They don't feel it. That's why it exists. As women, like, we feel this collectiveness. There is, I hear, I feel like, oh my God, why did she do that? What is the story behind it? I feel it in my body. I feel it even for men, but I feel that. But many times when I hear men speak, me too, they think it's not me. It's that man. He did it. There is no sense of responsibility as a collective, which is, I feel, is completely not there. It's very interesting. I don't know what the, psychology, statistics, research is, but I see that quiet. And I would love to hear if you guys have observed it, or, does that resonate with what I'm saying? Or is that just my own figment of imagination?
Very much and feel here. It's exactly what we get to hear here in Mauritius. They did it. So these men rather stick with us, be in our company, instead of being with the men out there. They actually will literally blame those labeled as perpetrators, instead of wondering, like, what can we do? How do we hold safe space? It's very indicative of, like, unable to contain this rising pain, and even this sense of shame.
Yeah.
I rather shame them instead of carrying shame and guilt. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, and I want to add, it's not like all women feel that, but I'm saying that women's circles are much more prevalent, and women coming together is much more getting so much traction than I see men's coming together. It's like men are also afraid of men. Like, as women, we are afraid of
Women.
We are also afraid of men. I mean, I'm not afraid. I've never in my life was afraid of women. Personally, that's my very personal thing, but I have always been, my radars are watchful. If, my body tells me with men to trust or not to trust, that radar is very alert. If I enter a room which is all men, my radars go up. It doesn't happen when I'm in a room with all women, not in the sense of my safety, but judgment maybe, but not that I will die. I will not die, that safety, that doesn't happen for me with women's group. But with men's, when I enter, I would wonder, oh, am I safe here? That happens for me, very automatic. And I've been very conscious about it. And yeah, and wanting to bring that into dialogue, yeah, so I'm just, I don't know, I'm just curious about it. So there is no judgment, and I want to see what's this, how do we go? Where do we go? How do we meet? How do we create this dance with each other? Yeah, how do we do that?
How do we connect?
How do we connect? How do we dialogue? And as I think, Megha, you said that also, and Sudit also, like, we definitely do our work. And I do see so many women doing the work, and I see many women then they become single, because we are also waiting for the men to come on, do your work, because I'm not going to open my legs if you are not going to create safety for me. And you do not know how to create safety for yourself. If you cannot take full responsibility for who you are, I don't feel safe. It's not my job to take care of you. It's not the beauty and the beast anymore. I think these stories, the beauty takes care and takes the beast to some enlightened. That's a myth. It's not my job to lead a man.
I want to share this very briefly. Pratibha was going to talk. Go ahead, Pratibha. Go ahead. Go.
So I got the honor and the privilege to raise a man.
Yeah.
My son, and I would say that the prime caregivers, parents,
Yeah.
Please see your child, see your son. Are we seeing them? We are saying that how to meet them and how to do this, all these deeper work and all, but just the simple thing, just see your son, see him as a man, as a male, and your daughter as female, and allow them the space, give them the space to be vulnerable. And just it's so simple. We don't I'm a simple person. I use really simple words. I don't know how to use big intellectual words to say this. It's just a simple thing. Just see them. See your son. It's your son.
Yeah.
And if he's crying, see that. If he's not being able to express, there's nothing that nothing as such like to man up. What does that mean?
Yeah. I think mothers and fathers, I'm saying like, I mean, I'm not a mother. I haven't given birth to a child, but kids I can, but then there is a huge responsibility of the parent that I can never be that for any child unless they reach a little bit of an adult age and they can come seeking my guidance. I can never, stand in a place of that for a child. But yeah, thank you, Pratibha, for really voicing that. And I'm just realizing that you are the one with the son, Sunita has a daughter. And we all, I think,
son and a daughter. And what I've done always is tried to just be vulnerable. I talk to my daughter about we speak about menstruation, our pains, cramps, and how we are feeling in our body in front of him.
yeah.
That he understands that this is how women we will feel in our body. And that's how he has learned. And when we speak, he understands. It doesn't bother him or doesn't change subject, or he's there present.
And I'm opening this up to you. I'm just also just saw the time. I'm opening this up to you. So I have asked few men. I have a few RSVPs from men to host a conversation with men. Yeah. So if you have recommendation for men who would want to be part of this, it would be, yeah, because I think we also need to acknowledge and give a space for men's and male voices. It's, I think, very, very important.
And I think there lies in some way the cue for the question you asked, Rekha, because I work with a lot of men.
Yeah.
In the space to create safety for their vulnerability and pain. And I feel that when pain is only met with these defenses which come originally passed on to them,
Yeah.
which blocks them emotionally completely, turning into a stone inside, there isn't a possibility of a connection, whether it's with a women or men. And if you just notice conversations between men standing together,
Yeah.
how much of themselves they are able to speak. They can speak about the car and the politics and the gadgets.
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah. So I think it starts with what you are speaking about, creating space for conversations which are safe, not attacking, blaming, that you're able to express.
Yeah, I think safety is the most important aspect. And recently, recently I was watching Stephen Porges. He talks about safety as something that is very much part of being human. Yeah, and safety is not the absence of threat. Safety is the presence of connection. So, that's what safety is. So when someone doesn't feel connection, then there is no safety. And that has a lot to do with the face, the voice, the expression, the tone, this part. He says you wear your heart on your face. Now, that's the research says it's how we look, how our expressions are. So how do we create that space, that connection can exist, that men feel safe to come towards women who are also doing their work and are advocates of and feminists, like it's a feminist is actually the term came for everyone, she or he who is the rights of everybody, but then most of the time men are afraid of feminists. So how do we embody that compassion and curiosity and create safety that connection can be experienced? Yeah, so I think yeah, and I'm letting you know, please, if you have recommendations for men who can be in this dialogue, and mostly it might be on the last day or a day after the last, on 28th Feb, I'm going to do a separate one just with men. And this is also, I'm saying it out also to those who watch. If you are watching and if you want to be part of that reflection dialogue, and if we have many men, I would love to do it many days, because a man is not a representative of men. He is his own individual voice, and that individual voice needs space. So do you think this is a good place? Is there a word or phrase or anything that you are sitting with that feels like needs a voice? And we can close for today.
Kindness.
Kindness.
I see you.
Oh, we had two phrases came together. I heard I see love and I see you. What happened here?
Hariba said, I see you.
I see you. Yes.
And I was going to say universe is abundant, or life is abundant. And when we begin this work, there's never going to be a lack of grace and support. Never, ever.
Yeah.
Abundance is,
Abundance
and generous. Yeah.
Grace and support. Abundance of grace and support. Kindness, I see you.
Human connection.
Yeah, human connection.
We're all connected.
Yeah, connection. I'll put the compassion and curiosity. To be curious about what's happening. So yeah, thank you, sisters. At some point, I thought there would be nothing to talk, and here I think this is the longest discussion we have had. So please take good care of yourself, and the journey continues. And actually tomorrow, so tomorrow actually we are going to, tomorrow is a kind of intense piece that we are going to host. Yeah. So have a wonderful evening. Blessed be, and just be here. Okay.